Hey guys, I'm Deidre. Welcome to my channel. So in this video, if you can tell by the title, I want to talk to you guys today about nursing, and specifically the nursing program for the bachelor's degree. I myself am in an accelerated bachelor's degree program here in Houston, Texas, where I live. And there are a couple of things that I wish I would have known going into the program and before I actually applied, just to kind of maybe accelerate getting accepted, or not necessarily make a different decision, because I want to be a nurse. I know that for sure. So I think this was the right thing for me to do, but just knowing a couple of things could have definitely saved me a little bit of headache. Now, I would recommend taking all of your prereqs before you actually apply to a nursing program. Now, most nursing programs do offer like a traditional 4-year bachelor's degree program for nursing, which will take you from literally the start with all of your basic classes, and then accelerate you all the way through to the last 2 years, which are your nursing clinical side of the program. So for me, I didn't start from the beginning. I actually completed all of my prereqs at a community college, and it saved me a ton of money. I'm not even gonna lie, doing it that way, which is why I recommend for you guys to do it that way. And it was a little bit easier. It made it feel like I wasn't starting completely from scratch. And I really feel like when I started the nursing program itself, I was actually in the nursing program. I wasn't taking basic English, science, or math or anything like that. I was actually starting in the nursing section, the nursing clinicals and all that of the course. So the next thing, you want to also make sure the credits that you take, so at any community college that you go to, those credits need to transfer over to the nursing program that you attend. So the last thing you want to do is take a bunch of courses that you get credit for at the community college but don't transfer over into the nursing program, because you will still have to retake those credits again if they don't transfer. So the next thing that I wanted to mention on the video is that my A&P courses, my science related courses, most nursing programs, they want you to have the those classes, those A&Ps and those science, they want most of those done within 5 years. So I took most of my A&P, anatomy and physiology, all of those biologies, chemistries, most of them I took more than 5 years ago. So that's one thing that I didn't really consider at the time when I was taking the classes. More so because I had a lot of like life stuff happen. I had kids, I got married, I went through a lot of things that really just kind of stunted me from moving forward with the nursing program at that time. So when I really was serious about going back, one of the things was that most of the schools that you look at want them within 5 years. I was the type that I was like, no, I don't want to like retake any of these classes. I mean, I feel like I spent money and I spent time on these classes, and being in the healthcare field that as I am right now, I feel like I was still utilizing a lot of what I learned, and I didn't feel like I wanted to go back and retake those classes. So with that being said, that was a huge factor in the school that I chose, because it was one of the few that actually required 10 years for your A&P courses instead of 5. So I fell within that perfectly fine, and I didn't have to actually retake any courses. So that was a plus. And then the next thing, number three, that I would add to the video is the grading scale of nursing school. So if you're in nursing school, more than likely you already know that the grading scale is so weird in nursing school. Like, I'm used to being like, okay, I got a 90, cool, I got an A. So in nursing school, it's not like that at all. It's actually a lot more harder. It's a lot harder, than a traditional grading scale, because at a 92, I believe you're at a B+. So those extra 2, I mean, I know you're saying, well, whatever, it's still good, but like for someone like me who is used to kind of overachieving a little bit, or at least really kind of aiming high, that does play a factor. And sometimes it gets discouraging when like you tell somebody you're like, yeah, I got a 91, and you don't look like super happy about it, because they're like, that's great, and you're like, yeah, but you really know what that means at this school. So that was like a huge adjustment. And then also the lowest grade is a 76. So at my school, a 76 or below is considered failing. So at that point, if you fail like a 76 on a test, the first time the teachers actually recommend, and some actually require you to do like a remediation where you actually go and sit down one-on-one with them and actually talk about the test and the things that you missed and the rationales behind them, because at my school they are in NCLEX style questions, so you are actually getting those rationales back as well. So those are just some things to kind of keep you from failing if you are at that borderline 76, which, like I said, at other places, depending on what you're shooting for, a 76 may be great for you. But if you do plan on attending nursing school, a 76 is like, you need to watch out before you get kicked out. So then, with that being said, there's also a system that we use. It's the ATI system, and it's a testing system that my school partners with, the ATI program. And so basically that's the Canvas or the online platform that they use for testing. And that has its own other grading system, as if the one for the school wasn't enough. So I would recommend that if you are planning to go to a school that does use the ATI online template for their testing, then I would recommend you do some research, see how their grading system works, and also see how your school actually uses those grades. Do they stick with those grading systems? Do they convert them to their own? Because that could also be a possibility. So the next tip that I have for you guys would be to use your resources. Now these can be like your resources anywhere, like outside of school or inside of school, but specifically for this tip, it's inside of school. Because there are literally so many resources at my school that just go untouched by a lot of students, and it's a shame because a lot of them are actually very helpful. But the one thing you'll notice in nursing school is that it's very self-motivated. So nobody's going to sit there and hold your hand and tell you to go to these review sessions or tell you to go to remediation with your teacher, because that's your job. You're in nursing school. You are setting yourself up to be a self-motivated nurse. So now there are some teachers who will integrate it into their course to where you have to attend a certain number of sessions for reviews, or you have to do remediations. Those things, those teachers are awesome. They know that you need it. They know that it will help. So they just go ahead and do it. But there are some that don't, and they just make it like a suggestion. Take those suggestions and run with them. That's all I can say about that. Just take them, run with them, use your resources. We have what we call the CAS session reviews, which are for students to go, and they're actually taught by either other students or other faculty who have taken the time out to prepare like slideshows or fun interactive games to help us depending on what the course is. There's also student services, tutoring, and things like that that are available to the students at their request. So like I said, nobody's going to come and seek you out and say, hey, can I tutor you, da 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 da. You have to want to do it, and you have to want to do it for yourself, and you have to go look for it. The last way to really use your resource is after a test. Now you want to use all your resources before to do well on a test, but let's say you didn't do the best on the test, or you just could have done better even though you did okay. Using your teacher as a resource is really like the best thing you could do, because your teacher knows all the answers to the test, obviously, and they're going to be the ones who can really help you through what you missed on the test and how you can succeed on the next one. So using them after the test is a really good resource that a lot of students take for granted. They say, oh, well, I got my 76 or above, so that's it. The next tip that I have for you guys is that you really want to look into your school's testing and how they do their testing, how their formatting is for their testing. For instance, at my school, they have NCLEX style testing and questions and things like that. So for me, I was not prepared at all for that type of testing. I've never done it. I've never had to do it, and so to be thrown into that was definitely an adjustment because I didn't even know where to start on how to answer a question. So a tip for that is to get a really good study guide book, use your resources, use upperclassmen who have taken these for a while because they have a lot of good tips and stuff as well. And then of course your school as well as outside resources may provide like seminars on how to take tests and test taking strategies to get you through the NCLEX. And that can be a whole separate video if you want one, but just bottom line, be prepared for those type of questions and testing, because it's not the traditional way of testing. You have your normal multiple choice, but even those are like at least two are always going to be right. You got to pick the best one. And then you also have like your select all and apply, which now can honestly just be one, even though you have like, okay, an example would be, okay, what are the symptoms of heart failure? And they may list 6 symptoms, and only one of those may be right. And I'm thinking to myself, well, why would you make that a select all apply? Just make it a multiple choice. But they do that because they want you to think, and they want you to get through these questions and pass the test and think critically like a nurse would. Basic things. So the most important thing for the NCLEX is knowing the content. The basic, most important thing, I can't say it enough, know the content, because it could ask like a million different questions about heart failure in a million and different ways. Like that's just how it is on that test. So I mean, if the only thing you know about heart failure is, okay, I'm gonna see some swelling, then you're probably not gonna do well on the questions that ask about heart failure. You need to know it inside out, so that if they asked a question that didn't even have the words heart failure in it, you would know that that's what they're talking about, and okay, these are the symptoms. You need to know it that way. And then the last tip that I have for you guys today is actually the most important tip to me, because I find it the hardest to actually achieve and accomplish, and it's a struggle to do on a daily basis. And that one is to balance your life. Like literally balance your life. Now, I mean, I'm talking school, work, and family, because those are the most important things that everyone has going on in their life for the most part. Before anything else, when you are looking for a nursing program or interested in maybe starting one, you need to understand right off the bat that you are going to have a limited amount of time for anything else other than nursing. So you really need to understand that you're going to have to dedicate a large chunk of time to nursing, and so the rest is going to have to be a balance. Me personally, I have kids and I do work full-time, so I'm trying to balance all of those things out, and it's hard. I mean, it's hard because you want to do well in school, but you also I want to be a mom to my kids, and I want to be there for them, and I want to take them on a walk every day and pick them up from school. And then I also want to work, and I have to work to kind of take care of myself and my family. So there's a lot that goes into the decision to work. And I mean, there are a lot of students who I go to school with right now who don't work, and it's awesome. They take advantage of that. They have more time to study, obviously. And would I say they do better? I mean, it all depends on how you manage your time, and so that's why balancing everything is so important, because you can have a family and a life and be a nursing student and work full-time. You can do it. It's not necessarily recommended, but it is possible. But you have to really learn and know how to balance your time, because if you don't, you will fail. And I'm not saying maybe you won't fail nursing school, but maybe you'll start lacking at work, slacking off at work, or maybe you won't get that much needed time with your kids. You just have to know how to balance, and it's so much easier said than done, believe me. So I really hope that these tips and tricks and just things that I wish I would have known before nursing school kind of help someone else out there who is looking into nursing school and really wants to dedicate their time to the field, because it is a great field. And right now I really love nursing school. I love all of my peers. My faculty and staff are super supportive, and I really think I made the right decision in the school that I chose. So definitely you want to feel like that before you actually start the program at whatever school you choose to go to. And I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video. Bye guys.